Zoe. I'm your host, and as always, I'm so happy to have you guys here with me today. So if this is your first time, you're a new viewer, a big welcome and thank you for checking the podcast out. And of course, a big welcome back to all of my returning viewers. And if you guys would like to find me on social media, I am at Zoe Nichols on Instagram and Ravelry, and you can find my hand-dyed yarn on Etsy. That is also under Felicity Yarn Studio. So I hope that everyone has been well, been safe, isn't going too stir crazy right now. We're doing pretty good here ourselves. It's kind of a roller coaster. Some days are better than others, but for the most part, you know, we're doing the best we can. I don't know if you can hear her. I don't think you can see her, but Darcy is down here purring pretty loudly and laying on my show notes. So I'm going to try to run through some business here up front, and I hope that I don't miss anything. The first thing that I wanted to mention is that Naomi and Naomi's my sister. She's the yarn curator and has her own podcast and channel. She and I did a knit along and we did pull winners for that. So if you missed that video, I think it's 2 videos back. And she also has it on her channel. And we do have a joint Ravelry group called the Curated Felicity Podcast Group. So if you wanted to pop in there and check that out, that would be great. So I have 2 prize packages left to send out. If you are one of those winners, please don't panic. I just haven't made it into the post office to buy postage yet. I thought that I could do it online for international, and I can, but it's a whole lot cheaper if I go in and do it in person. So please bear with me. I promise I will be getting out there this week to mail this out. Also, I did pull a winner for the 200 subscriber giveaway a few weeks ago, a couple of podcasts back, and that was Emma Butcher, and I still haven't heard back from Emma yet. So if you are watching this, please either leave a comment or contact me on Instagram or Ravelry so I can arrange to get your prize to you. I think it's been long enough so that if I don't hear back, I'm just going to pull for a new winner. So that is that. I think that's everything I have for housekeeping up front. I do have 2 finished objects to share with you today. The first you may have already seen. This is the Scotch Broom Crop. This is a pattern by Wool and Pine, and of course that is Selena of Dank Fiber and Abby of Abby Knits. And I did already put up my FO feature video for this, so I'm not going to run through too much information on this since it's all in its own separate little video. But I used Olan yarn in the sock light base, and the colorway, I was mistakenly calling it Patriot. It is Portrait. So sometimes you gotta read those labels a little closer, guys. But this was a really, really quick, really enjoyable knit. This Broomstick Lace pattern was a lot of fun. It was a little fiddly at first, but once you get the hang of it, it really flies by. I used 2 skeins for mine. I did make mine longer than the pattern suggested, but I still was left with about 12 grams of yarn. So again, it's very customizable, very easy, very quick. So if you want any more information, please go check out the FO feature video. And I cannot recommend this enough as a light summery top. So that leads us to finished object number 2. I finished my adventuring wrap. And this is a pattern by Amba O'Brien. This was one of her 2019 Christmas Advent patterns. And I used the Advent calendar that I dyed up for my shop, which was crystals and gemstones themed. So while I've got Advent on the brain, let me pick y'all's brain real quick. I'm thinking about this year's Advent calendars already. And I'm just wondering, what do you guys think? Theme versus no theme? Does that heavily influence the Advent calendars that you buy? I don't know. I'm kind of torn on if I want to do another theme this year, if I want to repeat the same theme, because I could probably find 24 new colors, crystals and gemstones, because there's so many of them out there. Or just do something completely different. I don't know. This is all kind of marinating in my brain right now, so let me know what you guys think in the comment box down below. But as far as this pattern goes, it was a fairly mindless knit. It's a lot of garter stitch with just a simple eyelet row in there. I did occasionally get off track because you do an increase at one end and a decrease at the other, so you get the like parallelogram shape overall. This thing is super long. Like this is it just put in half. It's almost more like a super long scarf, so I'll actually probably wear it more scarf-like, kind of like so. Haven't even really messed with it too much as far as how I'll wear it. I think that's kind of cute. I think it would be nice kind of wrapped around 2 or 3 times also. And yeah, I'm really pleased with it. I did do the fringe. I did find some of the fringe that I didn't trim up earlier, but I think the fringe really is, yeah, you go back and finish trimming my fringe. I think the fringe is the nice kind of finishing touch that this shawl needs. But other than that, it was a very enjoyable knit. I was really pleased with how my advent colors turned out from last year. So I believe I was down here on Howlite in the last episode. So then I did Smoky Quartz, Lepidolite, Amethyst, and Fluorite. So again, I'm kind of repeating some of these colors in the shops, the ones that I can remember how to make, because generally I don't write down my recipes for my advent colors. I take that as a time to kind of play around and just be a little bit more free, creatively speaking, in the dye pots. But there are a few that I feel pretty confident that I could recreate. Aquamarine's the only one that is currently in the shop, but I feel like Howlite is one that I could pretty easily recreate, and I want to get some of that stocked. And yeah, let me know if there's any other colors that you really liked from the Advent series, and I would be happy to try to figure those back out again. Moving right along, that brings us to works in progress. And I guess first I'll talk about the Battenberg baby blanket that I started. So our brother and his wife are expecting a baby in June, and they have not found out the gender, and they have requested gender neutral things. So I decided to make a Battenberg blanket for the baby, and I think I'm going to make it slightly smaller than what I talked about on the last episode. I think I had mentioned I wanted to make 384 squares total, but I think I'm going to narrow that down to 320 squares. That should still make a 40-inch by 50-inch blanket, which I think for a baby, they'll still get plenty of use throughout their like toddler years with something that size. So I've been making lots and lots of squares. I have 42 colorful squares made so far, and I have some plain white or cream yarn on the way, and I still haven't decided if I'm going to leave those white or if I want to dye them like a light gray. I think the gray would be really cute, and it might be a little bit more kid friendly. So I'm not going to pull them all out, but I will go ahead and pop a picture of them on the screen, because it's kind of hard to wrangle them all back into place. And as of right now, I have 2 of each color made, and I don't think I'm going to try to be too controlling about where they get placed to make sure they're evenly spaced and all of that. But I did just figure might as well make 2 of each color, because I don't think I'm going to come up with 160 individual colors for this. I think 80 is definitely doable, especially since I'm halfway there already. So that is in progress. I have made a few squares for my Battenberg blanket as well, but I'm not really counting them at this point. I kind of like to accumulate a large number before I put them all away with the rest of them. Oh, and the Battenberg blanket is a pattern by Sandra of the Cherry Heart podcast. I really enjoy her podcast and her kind of aesthetic, and I believe it is a free pattern, and there are video tutorial links as far as she incorporates a join as you go method. So with my blanket, I have already kind of played around with that join as you go method, and it is really easy and is not quite as intimidating as like seaming together 300 crochet squares. Okay, the next thing that I have been working on is my Luminary Socks, and they are a pattern by Helen Stewart. It is part of the Handmade Sock Society 3 that is happening this year. We just got the update for the third pattern yesterday, I believe, and I did like those. I think I might make those, maybe not after I finish these, because I kind of want a vanilla pair on the needles. But I think I do want them. They're kind of similar to this pattern, but anyway, these are the Luminary Socks, and I am making mine out of Farmer's Daughter fibers in the Eagle Eye colorway. This is 100% superwash base. So I don't know how much wear I'll get with them in shoes. I don't know, we'll see how it does. But it is a really enjoyable base to knit with. It's very springy, and the stitches, you get really nice stitch definition. So that twisted rib just looks really nice there. So I was up here on the last podcast episode, and I've gotten through the heel flap and gusset. I am in the middle of my gusset decreases. I'm almost done with those. And I think she marks on the pattern what percentage done you are, because it's like a row by row tick off. So I believe I'm somewhere around 60% done with these. So that's really satisfying, especially when you're doing 2 at a time socks, to know that, okay, I'm on the decline now. So this was my first time doing heel flap and gusset with the 2 at a time magic loop. So basically, when you start turning the heel and picking up the stitches, you have to work 1 at a time until they're both all the way picked up around. And that wasn't a problem. The only kind of hiccup that I had is the way that the pattern was written, where you can consider the beginning of the round after you've picked up all those stitches just didn't make sense to me, and it kept messing me up every time I would go to do a decrease. And I think I actually did either more slip stitches than it called for, or I don't know. I wound up with 2 extra stitches in the gusset, because I always pick up 1 in the corner anyway to kind of try to avoid getting the hole there. Anyway, I had 2 extra stitches on each side, and then I got off by a stitch on each sock on one side. I don't know. I just did a couple extra decreases and wound to get them on the same stitch count on each sock. So it wasn't a huge deal. I usually kind of have to fudge that part of the heel flap and gusset anyway, I feel like, on when I would normally use 9-inch circulars. So again, I'm on the downward slope now, and I'm really excited to finish these, because again, I'm really craving just some vanilla socks. I'm really craving mindless knitting right now, which a lot of what I have on the needles isn't mindless knitting, so I'll kind of get to that at the end. So the next, like, not mindless thing that I have going on here, and this isn't too bad, I did cast on my Swallowtail, and there's not a lot to show here, but I did get through all of the kind of short row shaping, and I did like 2 rows of color work, which I doubt you can even tell, and these stitch markers here in the middle This is where the butterfly panel will be. I just got to a point where I was at another increase row and didn't really have the brain space to do that and color work at the same time. So I just need to sit down with this. I think I need to print out the chart for this also. That would make it a little bit easier to work on. But I am using some of my own hand-dyed yarn for this, and I will be dyeing up some of these colors to put in the shop next week. This colorway up top is a new one, and I think I'm just going to call this one Sand or Sandy Beach or something. It's just a really nice plain beigey color. This is Early Shadows, and it is a really nice kind of grayish taupe color also. And then we have Blush Clouds, which is just a really nice color, and I think the camera's going to try to blow it out. It's just a really pale, soft pink. And finally, I don't have the main color up here, so bear with me for 2 seconds. All right, I'm back. Bear with me, I had to run downstairs, so if I'm out of breath, I apologize. This is my Pink Sky colorway. So that will be like the main body color. And after that, there will be a color work section. That'll be kind of the main color work section, background color. And it repeats a little stripe with that. I don't know if that is making any kind of visual sense to you guys, but that is my Swallowtail. So not that there's anything super complicated about this color work. I don't know. I need simple right now, and I'm actually kind of enjoying the next project I'm going to show you guys when I do want something a little bit more stimulating. The next thing that I have been getting some work done on is my Tsubaki Pullover, and this is by Hiroko Fukatsu. I'm losing a stitch here, hang on. And this is where we are at. This is out of Brooklyn Tweed Shelter in the Foothills colorway. And I don't know if you'll really be able to tell, but I was pre-cable up here on the last time that you guys saw this. So I'm almost done. I have one more set of short rows on the back. You can see where it's really starting to raise up in the back now. Before I move on to the next step and the pattern. So again, I've mentioned a few times, this is kind of a non-traditional top-down construction. So that combined with the cables don't slow me down as much as just trying to comprehend how the pattern is written. So from here, I believe you start working on one of your sleeves, and then you actually like seam the sleeve up, and then come back and work your second sleeve and seam that up, and then start working in the round for the body. So that is how the no breaking of the yarn is achieved, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a combination of just being something completely new combined with I've just wanted to make a sweater out of Brooklyn Tweed for a really long time, and I've really wanted to make cables for a while now. So I think that's why when I want something that I can kind of sink my teeth into, this is what I'm leaning towards. So I don't think Naomi's mentioned anything yet, but her and I had planned to attend a certain yarn festival where you make a sweater to wear specifically for that, and this was always kind of going to be my sweater for the yarn festival, which I'm not going to name it because I don't want to jinx it. I'm not holding out a ton of hope at this point, but her and I are planning on going. We're planning on going. I don't know. We're still up in the air. Regardless, I really want this sweater. I'm really enjoying working with it. I have just gotten into my second, well, I'm about halfway through my second cake of yarn here. I have 12 of them all together, and they're 50-gram skeins. So that is my Tsubaki. So the last thing that I have been working on, again, is been pretty mindless, and you guys have seen this a few times now. This is my semi-precious crochet granny stripe blanket. I'm doing the granny stripe blanket by Attic 24. And the last time that you guys saw this is where the stitch marker is. So I've done about 5 inches in the last day or two. And I held this up the other night, and it's touching the ground. It hits about my shoulders, and I'm 5'5", so I have 4 colors left and then a full 12 color repeat caked up here. So I think once I do that, it's gonna be long enough. That left me with about 215 grams left over of all of the colors combined. So since it's not quite as wide as I would like, I mean, it's wide enough, but I would prefer, I don't think I'll get it my full wingspan, but it's definitely long enough to like cover me up on the couch, but I would like it a little bit wider. What I did is I just went on ahead and left the repeats super long and joined them all together, so I have this big kick. And I think what my plan is once this is done, the little one, is I'll start doing double crochet in every stitch so that it's a solid fabric all around the border. And I'll just do that with these super long repeats. So that way it'll grow in width, but also in height a little bit as well. And then I have about 36 grams left over of the La Bien Aimée and the Snow colorway. I don't know, it's kind of a white, creamy gray color. And I'm hoping that is enough to do an entire border around, even if it's just a single crochet or even just a slip stitch border. I'd be happy with that. So with this big cake, I'll get a decent idea of how much yarn it'll take to go around the entire perimeter. I have approximately 16 to 18 grams of each color caked up here. So I've been reaching for this a lot lately since it is pretty mindless, and I want to do some vanilla socks, and I'm trying to be really good about only having 1 pair of socks on the needles at a time. So that's why I'm trying to finish up my Luminary Socks. And I want to do something with all of my crystals and gemstones leftovers. I think I have about 200 grams of leftovers here, so really that's enough for 2 pairs of socks. I haven't decided if I want to maybe pick out a lot of the similar looking colors and like the softer shades and do like a fade sock or stripy sock with those, and then have a more like bold colored pair of socks. Or if I just want to do just really thin stripes of all of the colors, I'll probably rearrange them from what I had in the shawl. So I haven't decided that yet. I figured I don't really need to decide that until I finish the Luminary Socks. And then the other pair of socks that I've been kind of dreaming about in the back of my mind is with the leftovers from my jigsaw puzzle. So I really love these 4 especially, and I think they would make the prettiest pair of stripy or scrappy socks. And I also, this color too would look good in there. And again, this is like probably close to 300 grams of yarn, even though it's all partials. So I know I could get more than one pair out of them. I kind of want a pair of like shorty roller socks out of these colors also. So that's, again, kind of where I'm at with the dream knitting. I am feeling the urge to cast on new things, but I don't know what. Nothing is jumping out at me. I do feel like a little bit like I've lost some of my mojo. I haven't really felt the urge to spin. I did spin one of the 5 fiber preps that was talked about in the blueprint class that I took by J.C. Boggs Faulkner. I did the short forward worsted draft, but I had another issue with plying where my tension didn't come out right, and I don't know, I was so annoyed with it that it's still hanging up where I left it to dry like 3 weeks ago, and I just haven't gone back to look at it. I just haven't felt the urge to go sit down at my wheel. I've gone through my stash 2 or 3 times and nothing is like screaming knit me. I think it's just I feel paralyzed by uncertainty right now. So I have bought some yarn to dye and that's coming in tomorrow. So I think I'm actually looking forward to getting into the dye pots. So yeah, I don't know what it is about dyeing, but I am looking forward to spending some time in the dye pots and yeah, just doing something different for a little while. So that also leads me to go ahead and just give everyone a massive thank you who has been supporting my Etsy shop over the last few weeks. That really means a lot to me. I've really seen an uptick in business and it's kind of overwhelming, but I really appreciate it. I have been staying busy packing up orders. It's just really nice to know that people are still supporting indie dyers and local yarn shops and, you know, doing what they can right now. I know that I myself, I have been looking for some nice spinning fiber. I don't know, I kind of feel like I want to buy fiber. I don't really want to buy yarn right now. I have plenty of yarn and I have plenty of ideas that I want to dye up right now. So if you are a spinner and you have a favorite fiber source, please drop that in the comment box down below as well. I am still new to the world of spinning and you know, resources for fiber. I kind of get blinders on and just go to Etsy most of the time. So I'd really appreciate if anyone has any recommendations for me. So as far as acquisitions go, I do have one, but I did not spend money on this. So if you watched a couple episodes ago, you'll know that we were in Raleigh with my aunts from Florida and we did our little dye day session. And one of my aunts makes project bags. So as a thank you for kind of showing them the ropes on dyeing yarn, my Aunt Laura and Aunt Susan made me this really cute project bag. It's very big, which I like. I don't have a project bag that is this big. So it's got kitty cats on it. And I love the bright yellow batik. And it's just kind of a plain on the inside. So that'll be nice to see things. And she does have an Etsy shop as well. And that is A Stitch Garden. So you guys should go and check that out. Even if you don't buy anything, just favoriting or, you know, favoriting the shop really helps out a lot. So yeah, I'm really pleased with this, and I think actually I'm gonna store this sweater in here because it doesn't have a project bag right now. So that's it as far as fibery yarny knitting content that I have for you guys. Jason and I have been getting some work done on the house since he is home from work right now. We've been painting our downstairs living room. We are doing a lot of work in that room and in the little half bath off of it. And I guess I talked about it, I don't know when I talked about it, but the toilet in that downstairs bathroom flooded like in January, so we're having to replace floors in both of those rooms, but we wanted to get some painting done and some other little things before we put in the flooring. So I'm taking footage of all of that. I'm not going to show it yet because I kind of want to do it from start to finish. So I've been taking a little bit of footage of that along the way, and I am going to pop in a little bit of vloggy footage at the end. We went and drove up to the Blue Ridge Parkway just to get out of the house a week or two ago and get some fresh air, and we did hike a trail up there. I hope that you guys enjoy some views of the mountains. Other than that, we've just been kind of walking around the neighborhood, occasionally doing some grocery shopping, and that's about it. All right, guys, I think that is gonna do it for me. I apologize if this has been kind of choppy and all over the place. My train of thought has not been super clear lately. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys hopefully another week or two. I meant to record sooner than this, but then I didn't feel like I had done anything. So anyway, I will see you guys again shortly. Happy knitting. Bye.